Let us pray. God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we give you glory and honor. As we honor our graduates and congratulate them on their achievement, we recognize that you are the source from whom all blessings flow. God the Father, creator and sustainer of the universe, we thank you for creating this world and breathing life into us so that we might learn about your creation. Let this education we have received be a beginning of a life of learning and dedication to know you through your creation. Help us to be your agents to redeem this world to you. God the Son, our atoning sacrifice, we thank you for taking on our sins, our shortcomings, and our very faults so that we might have life through you. Today we would not know freedom, liberty, or charity if you had not modeled them for us in your life. Help us to take this education we have received and use it to expand your kingdom here on earth. Help us to bring people to you through what you have done for us. Thank you for your gift of salvation, and thank you for helping us to learn through your example that we are to continue to grow and learn throughout our lives as we imitate you. Holy Spirit, our guide and comforter, thank you for being there in the ups and downs of the past few years. Thank you for protecting us as we lived and traveled between home and school. And thank you for your comfort as we deal with losses, hurts, and broken relationships. Be our guide today as we set forth on a new journey in faith in you. And use us to be your agents of transformation in our homes, communities, and around the world. Give us courage to speak your words, even when those words may be unpopular. Gracious God, we ask your blessing on this graduating class and their families. Bless them today with your love, forgiveness, and grace. Continue to draw them to you through their faith journeys. Bless the mothers and grandmothers on this Mother's Day that supported these graduates through their education. To you, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, be all power, glory, and honor forever and ever. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, members of the Board of Trustees, honorary degree recipients, distinguished faculty, staff, parents, students, friends, family members, and graduates of the class of 2013. Welcome to our beautiful campus on this outstanding spring day. Commencement is a day that represents how life is built on a series of comings and goings. Over a lifetime, we weave ourselves in and out of encounters with people, places, and experiences. We leave our families and our hometowns when we head off to college, return to them frequently when we're in college, and then move on to careers, start families, and possibly relocate to a new destination, maybe one that you never even imagined. Eventually, you will return to Lake Erie College. Of course, everyone and every place you return to changes while you were away, which makes every return a partly new experience. The sum of these comings and goings and the sum of our constantly increasing and new experiences contributes greatly to how we build our lives. My strongest hope is that you will always see Lake Erie College as one of the key elements that builds your life and remains one of your many homes. We want you to feel that what you've had at Lake Erie College is something that will never leave you, and that you feel you must return physically and in spirit in the future. We hope and expect you to return, to retrace the paths by reconnecting with classmates, walking the halls of your favorite building, attending a lecture or sporting event, or even eating lunch in the Holden Center just one more time. With all the comings and goings that make up your life, may you take with you from your time at Lake Erie College something so sound, something so enduring that it will be part of you for the rest of your life. It is a personal honor for me to be a part of your lives. I would now like to introduce today's speaker, representing the class of 2013 and the Student Government President, Ms. Mary Walter.
Well, first of all, I think the only proper way to start this off is to take us back to our very first day at Lake Erie College. We were sitting in Morley Music Hall. Yes, we remember. It was 100 degrees. As we're waving those pamphlets against our face in an attempt to cool down. While sitting there, I clearly remember our names being called and watching us walk across the stage. I hear people whispering, "Who's that?" or "That's my teammate." Now, to me, the most important part of that entire day was when this phrase was spoken. Turn to your right, now turn to your left. Statistically, only one of you will graduate. I remember sitting there thinking, I'm going to be the one of the three that graduates. Well, fellow classmates, those of you sitting here right now, today, made it. Congratulations, you beat the odds. Now, before I continue, I think we need to give a huge round of applause to the people who made today possible. First, for all the people behind me, to all the professors in front of me, and to our huge support systems back home. Without them, we would not be sitting here anxiously waiting to walk across the stage and receive our diploma. So, from the class of 2013, thank you all. Let's recall some of the highlights from this place. For instance, homecoming week, the whipped cream pies, with all the hooting and hollering from everybody as professors and coaches got slammed and covered in whipped cream. Then, we took the sledgehammer, went out to the parking lot, and smashed that car. Then, of course, our football boys just had to flip it. And then, who else remembers, whether it was yourself or somebody else, being locked out of their room in their towel, sitting there waiting for security to come over to unlock their door, or for all you fall sport athletes out there, having to dread setting your alarms to wake up for 6 a.m. conditioning, or for all you EQ students, having to set your alarm for 5 a.m. to wake up to clean the stalls and feed the horses before class, or having to leave your building at 3 a.m. when someone burnt popcorn and the extremely loud fire alarm going off. Yes, we all remember those days. Or in the spring when campus got flooded and the kids brought out their boats and paddled through the flood, or making snowmen and having snowball fights when our campus got slammed with snow in April. Or who else remembers going to sporting events and seeing all those wild boys dressed up in their costumes going crazy? Or whoever remembers being woken up at 6 a.m. by President Victor, Deb Remington, and all the bagpipers alerting us that today is Mountain Day and that we do not have class. Or for all you women out there, having nail parties and sitting in the hallway and talking about anything and everything. And for all you men out there, having the video game all-nighters with your doors open, yelling at each other about where to run to, who to shoot at. These are the memories I hope you take with you. These are little things that made the big things worthwhile. Over the past 4 years, we've all had ups and downs. For us athletes out there, I'm sure remember dreading to set our alarms for conditioning. For the EQ students, I'm sure we dread getting up early before class. Or the all-nighters that we pulled studying for exams that we thought were impossible to pass. Or waiting to the last minute to start that paper that was due the next morning. Or to the nights that we stayed out too late and we dreaded it the next morning when we could barely get out of bed. We dreaded them at the time, but now we appreciate those hard coaches that never let up, or the professors that expected more from us. We remember the tears we shed from broken hearts, deaths of friends and family members, or the breakdowns when we thought we couldn't do this anymore. When we look back at pictures from freshman year, we say, did I really look like that? Was my hair really that ugly? Or why did I wear that outfit? We all have memories from this place. I hope all of you remember the good things and don't stress over the bad ones. Remember what each test taught us and why we started this journey. As I look into the crowd, I see doctors, lawyers, coaches, teachers, but all those are just labels. What I really see when I look into the sea of smiling faces is a group of young men and women that never gave up on their dream. A group of individuals that came together and helped each other grow. I see loyal friends that not only made it through the easy times, but pushed through the bad times. And above all else, I see a family. We all have people that we admire and aspire to be like. Right now, I have 10 people alone from Lake Erie College that pop into my head. So as we sit here and ponder on the type of person that we want to become, I want to elaborate on a few people that have truly inspired me and have made me into the woman that I am today. First off, this woman is by far the kindest, sweetest, and most reliable people I've ever met. Her door has always been open for me. She has time and time again adjusted her schedule to make time for me, whether it was about talking about some boy that I had liked and I had no idea how to talk to, or if it was about a test I just failed and I go, I can't be a science major anymore, I'm not cut out for this. Or if I walk in and start complaining about what am I going to do with my life after graduation. She always listened. She was one of my biggest advocates on campus and always supported me in every decision I made and never gave up on me, even when I had given up on myself. She has seen me laugh until I cried and cried until I laughed. I've used up 3 or 4 boxes of tissues in her office in a week, and she's given me all sorts of dessert to put a smile back on my face. I've never seen the slightest hint that she's upset or that I made her 5 minutes late to a meeting. She always made time for me. Hope that one day I will be half the woman that she is. For those of you out there wondering who this terrific woman is, her name is Billy Dunn. Billy, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for not only supporting me in my weakest moments, but for also being an absolutely wonderful person. You gave me the courage to walk up here today and give this speech. Even I told you how afraid I was of wiping up that ramp when I came up here, or for stumbling as I try to make this speech. You gave me a good morning text message that says, I believe you can do this. So thank you. I also want to thank a few professors. First of all, Dr. Johnson. If it wasn't for you my freshman year, I wouldn't have made it in the science field. You spent hours upon hours teaching me the basics of biology when I was basically like a child lost in a huge store. You grabbed my hand and walked me through the store and helped me realize that it isn't as big and scary as I once imagined. You never lost patience with me. That is hard not only to find a professor, but a person as well. Another professor I want to acknowledge is Dr. Tedesco. Yes, for all you science majors out there, we all know his name. He teaches the hardest subject on campus, organic chemistry. Yes, we all try to avoid that subject. But I want to thank you for being patient with me and not ripping your hair out when I was totally lost. There's a story that I must tell that'll make you all really appreciate this man. During a study session, Dr. Tedesco was doing a problem on the chalkboard, and I could not comprehend how he was solving this problem. We were breaking bonds, and within a bond there are 2 electrons. So when a bond breaks, they split 1 and 1. I sat there for 5 minutes, not understanding how he did this. He calmly asked me, Mary, how many electrons are in a bond? I stared at him and said, that's a very good question. He laughed and said 2. And I was like, wow, I knew that. What was I thinking? This is one of the most basic chemistry concepts, and I was a second semester OChem student. Most professors would have gotten upset, ripped their hair out, and walked out. But no, Dr. Tedesco sat there and calmly said, do you understand it now? And I said, yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. His patience level and willingness to help not only in the classroom, but outside is also hard to find. Approachable people like this make Lake Erie College a great place to spend your college years. These people make this place a home. I know that I am not a perfect person. I'm far from it. We all make mistakes, but mistake is not what is important. It's what we do after that reveals our true character. Life is a journey, not a destination. We're always growing and maturing. We all have the pieces and parts that make us perfect. It just takes time to put all the pieces in the correct alignment. As we go through life, we acquire more glue along the way, which allows us to mold ourselves into the perfect masterpiece. I will never be the smartest, most athletic, or prettiest. However, I will always be the best version of me. We all need to remember that we are perfect just the way we are. It doesn't matter what society says is perfect. We're all born and loved from the moment we took our first breath. So forget about the stereotypes that are embedded in our heads since we were children. Strive to be the best you can be. There's only one of you, so don't waste it trying to fit someone else's idea of what they think you should be. I've always been told that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. When we started off here in August of 2009, yes, August of 2009, seems like a long time ago, we came in with a plan thinking this is what we were going to do with our lives. Now, we've all changed our major 5 or 10 times, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that we have learned what we like and what we don't like. I once heard that if you never failed at anything, then you've never tried anything new. Failing isn't a bad thing. It teaches us how to pick ourselves up and what not to do next time. Failing is a word I don't like to use too often, because to me, personally, it's God's way of saying wrong direction, Next time, go that way instead. Dr. Seuss wrote, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who'll decide where to go." I believe very strongly in the statement, because I feel that we control our own destiny. It is time to take control of our lives and live it. It is time to turn our dreams into a reality. We can really do this. Steve Jobs once said, "Your time is limited, so don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition." He could not have said it more perfectly. This is our life to live, and if we do it right, once is enough. Face your fears, chase your dreams, stay true to yourself. Over the past 4 years, our mindsets have changed based upon changes in life goals, relationships, and choices. If we're sitting in this room today, it means that Lake Erie has prepared us for our next step. Whether it is graduate school, or traveling the world, or taking the skills we acquired during our time here back to our communities, or perhaps accepting a full-time position at a multi-million-dollar corporation. Whatever our path may be, we can take comfort in the knowledge that we are wholly prepared to meet any obstacle that life may put in our way, and to be confident that at the end of the day, we will know that it is conquered. And I think the only proper way to end this speech is to tell you a story I heard at my brother's graduation from the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine. It's been a few years since I heard it, but for some reason it really stuck with me. On the first day of school at a university, a professor walked in with an empty jar. He didn't say a word to his students. He took the lid off the jar and filled it with rocks. Then he put the lid back on and asked the class, "Do you think the jar is full?" The students looked at the jar and agreed that the jar was full. Then the professor removed the lid and put marbles in the jar as well. He shook it so that all the holes and gaps were filled. He sealed the jar and then asked again, "Class, do you think the jar is full?" The class then concluded that the jar was indeed full. Now the third time around, the professor removed the lid and poured in sand. He shook it and then asked the class, "Do you think the jar is full?" The class laughed and replied in unison, "Yes, now it is full." The professor then removed the lid a fourth time and poured in a pot of coffee until the liquid went all the way to the brim, and then sealed the jar back up. Now, I'm sure all you are sitting here thinking that the moral of the story is that you can always make room for more. This is true, but this is not what I'm going after. Life is much like this jar. The rocks represent the important things in life: God, family, loved ones, health, and the things you truly care about. If we lost everything else in the jar, our lives would still be full. The marbles are the other important things in our lives, but our true happiness does not depend on them. This includes things like our work, house, car, and any other materialistic item we want. The sand represents the small stuff. This includes things like a new outfit, a pair of shoes, or that large steak dinner. Now let's change up the order a bit. If we filled our jar with sand first, then there would not be room for marbles or rocks. If we spent all of our energy on the small stuff, there would not be room for the important things. So don't sweat the small stuff, because at the end of the day, it's the big things that truly matter. Now I'm sure you're all wondering what the coffee represents. It means that no matter how full your life is, there's always room for a cup of coffee with a friend. Once again, class of 2013, congratulations. We made it. It is time to fulfill our destiny and continue this journey we call life. When we walk out of those doors today, we start the next chapter. Let's take what we have learned here at Lake Erie College and use it. There's a time for chasing dreams, making plans, and setting goals. But it is no longer that time. The future is now. We have arrived.
President Victor, trustees, esteemed colleagues, it's a pleasure for me to give this send-off to our graduating seniors of 2013. More and more, as I look back on the professors who have mattered the most to me, I am grateful for the ones who, often enough negatively, taught me that the right to speak, even in the most scruffy Monday morning classroom, carries with it a heavy responsibility. Over the last couple of weeks, those very teachers and professors have forced me to ask and re-ask the question, what can I say that will be of real long-term benefit to my captive audience? One reason I constantly remember this group of teachers is that they drilled into me, like I'm sure they did into all our faculty here today, how, more often than not, it's best for us professors not to speak until we have allowed far greater minds, hearts, and lives than ours to take the floor. And so I venture. Back in the year 2000, a movie called The Legend of Bagger Vance came out. No one much remembers it today. The producer and director, Robert Redford, made the film with a budget of some $70 million. But the film only grossed about $30 million at the box office. On the surface, it's a golf movie with the obligatory love story overlay. The public more or less dismissed the movie because the romance scenes didn't go far enough. Also, as if out of nowhere, black intellectuals branded the film as vintage racism because of Will Smith's role as the super-duper magic Negro. You know, the stereotype in countless movies that solves white people's problems and gets paid little to nothing for doing it. Did no one pick up on the dignified, smirky, ironic twinkle in Will Smith's eyes from one end of the movie to the other? Another possible reason the movie ostensibly failed is that on its most superficial level, the thing is about sports. So far as realism and accuracy go, golfers would have probably preferred a documentary or a real tournament. That leaves the average Joe non-golfer who may well have been just plain bored. We might then call those $70 million a bad investment, but Robert Redford does not. Several interviews with him on just this movie indicate as much. We don't need the interview, though, only the cultural artifact itself, to see how the participants in the project poured themselves into their work. You can tell they had a message to deliver to their beloved country, America. Robert Redford, the former Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, was 64 years old by the time Bagger Vance came out. What I see in the result of the $70 million investment is a very able, yes, vehement filmic attempt to convey a universal piece of wisdom, a hard-won, almost secret wisdom that cuts across time, across history, across religions or not religion, and most of all, across individuals of every culture and subculture. What I want to do is tie this wisdom in with your and my experience here at the golf course we call Lake Erie College. Meanwhile, bear with this humanities professor. The first reason you need to do this is that I am duty-bound to stick with those greater minds for a while. I'm going to accomplish the overall task with some direct quotations from the screenplay. The second reason is that this is going to be quick. No time at commencement for the usual college-level close analysis. Listen to Ranulph Juna, played by Matt Damon, who up until now just doesn't get the terrifyingly rough but potentially beautiful game of life. Listen to Bagger Vance, played by Will Smith, who does get it, having made the best of 2 centuries of rough history. Listen to the once little kid, Hardy Greaves, who turns into the movie's wise, old man narrator, Jack Lemmon. Let's go on the intellectual ride. Juna happens, randomly, it seems, at the beginning of the movie, to be talking to the little boy Hardy. Hardy is seriously wondering what it's like to be drunk, quoting Juna. Now, the question on the table is how drunk is drunk enough? And the answer is that it's all a matter of brain cells. Hardy Greaves. Brain cells? Juna. That's right, Hardy. You see, every drink of liquor you take kills 1,000 brain cells. Now that doesn't much matter because we got billions more. And first the sadness cells die, so you smile real big. And then the quiet cells go, so you just say everything real loud for no reason at all. That's okay because the stupid cells go next, so everything you say is real smart. And finally come the memory cells. These are tough sons of bitches to kill. End quote. Ranulph Juna has been in a steadily losing state of mind because of traumatic experience during World War I. But a bit later, he starts to snap out of it when he says to Bagger Vance, "This is getting embarrassing." Will Smith replies, "Oh no, sir. This has been embarrassing for quite some time." Vance then goes on to give all kinds of charges, which I personally believe in, and would have only ruined by trying to say the same thing in professor speak. As charges to the graduates go, these are the ones I believe to be the most important to pass on to you today. So I guess I am professing after all. Okay, so this time it's Will Smith talking to Matt Damon. You got a choice. You can stop or you can start. Juna. Start. Bagger Vance. Walking. Juna. Where? Bagger Vance. Right back to where you always been, and then stand there, still, real still, and remember, Juna, it's too long ago. Bagger Vance. Oh no, sir, it was just a moment ago. Time for you to come on out of the shadows, Juna. Time for you to choose. Juna. I can't. Bagger Vance. Yes, you can, but you ain't alone. Now play the game, your game, the only one that was meant for you to play. The one that was given to you when you come into this world. You ready? Strike that ball, Juna. Don't hold nothing back. Give it everything. Now's the time. Let yourself remember. Remember your swing. That's right, Juna. Settle yourself. Let's go. Now is the time, Juna. End quote. Matt Damon then hits a supposedly miracle hole-in-one, but then comes his really real set of tribulations, the kind that try our souls, as Winston Churchill once put it. In American fashion, Juna just has to win this game in the movie, and he does. Yes, this game, but within a game, within a game, within a game, within a game. Finally, I have to mention a cameo, but not so cameo, character in the movie, the official in the kilt. He's there to ensure that the game is played by the rules. The Scotsman represents the natural force that goes by many technical words, ranging from karma to natural selection. In life, according to Robert Redford, to Will Smith, to Jack Lemmon, and to the whole cast and crew, it's this inevitable force that sooner or later makes us catch up with ourselves, that makes us catch up with the universe for every corner we have ever cut during the game, with a capital T and a capital G. This would have to be the mother of all charges in Robert Redford's Book of Secret Wisdom. And I, Professor Bell, although I don't feel like it half the time, am constrained to admit this is true, both inside and out of the movie script. Now, what on earth does all this have to do with Lake Erie College and our time here? Past, present, future. Future, present, and past, all continually melding together in each of our unique memory banks. What I have noticed during my 10 years here is that the Lake Erie Golf Course since 1856 keeps on giving its players some unheard of freedoms. It also gives us our fair share of tough, yes, brutally rough challenges. Maybe our unique golf course will always maintain this identity, and as of today, I'd say rightly so. Our rich American patchwork culture needs just such a one-off institution of higher learning, and that university bears the name Lake Erie College. As Robert Redford put it in the mouth of Will Smith, maybe this beautiful spot of land near one of our Great Lakes is, quote, a game that can't be won, only played. I trust that all of you, like I am, are glad you came here. Glad because the game, which is not a game, really, has been anything but skating and coasting. No one here ever got handed a whole lot of perfectly packaged fish in seemingly seamless succession. No, Lake Erie College has taught me, and you will see how it has taught you, perhaps like no other experience available, how to fish and how not to expect that the fish of life are going to be handed to you or me on a silver platter. But also, don't forget, along the way, there have been some highly memorable holes in one. As far as I can see, there have been one or two such spectacular successes for each one of you out there. There certainly have been for me. Holes in one like this have come down to us through tradition, through teamwork, and because a few stars aligned in a way not even Robert Redford's brilliantly thorough movie can purport to explain. These rare total successes can and will keep happening to all of us when we walk away from here today. From now until your time on earth is up, click on the ruby slippers 3 times, at least once a month, and repeat, "There's no place like home." Yes, Lake Erie College has hardwired every one of you, has hardwired me for these occasional holes in one. Now, one last quote, one last charge. Keep in mind that at a university, we're not allowed to alter copyrighted material. I would never be found talking the way Juna or Will Smith sometimes did in the movie. Nice boy that I am, or was, or will be, I guess I should charge you with alles Gute or bonne continuation. But let's translate these nice little charges into good old Northeast Ohio frontier, steel belt, rust belt English. I love the translation, and maybe I would not have before I came here. After all the sweet talk and expert teaching, Matt Damon asked Will Smith during the supposed game, and right before Juna made that miracle hole in one, "Anything else?" And Bagger Vance answers, "Just bash the living shit out of it."
Morning. Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would like to welcome you to the 154th commencement of Lake Erie College. Yesterday morning, the Board of Trustees granted the awarding of degrees to 186 individuals who have earned their place in the Lake Erie College community of scholars. No other action that is required of the Board of Trustees brings as much pleasure and reward as the granting of the degrees each year. This is very, very important to us. Graduates, we are proud of you today. You have already distinguished yourself in your studies, in your careers, and in your service as Lake Erie College students. We know you will continue to bring great pride to Lake Erie College tomorrow as our alumni. Remember, you will always have a home here. We hope you will come back often. And as you leave Lake Erie College this weekend and achieve your dreams, just remember, be patient and never be satisfied. Congratulations, class of 2013. To each and every one of you, congratulations. We all know today is a very special day for the graduates, but it is also a very special day for certain members of the audience. And to each and every one of you, Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Please rise for the singing of our alma mater.
We sing of Lake Erie, the green and the white, the friendships we made here will never grow old. The memories of Lake Erie, ideals and traditions, as we grow together, horizons unfold. Our goals ever nearer, our loyalties dearer, endeavors rewarded in our college days. Too soon we will leave you, but always remember the halls of Lake Erie, the green and the white.
You may be seated.
Nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis, nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem.
Well, good morning, and congratulations, graduates, to you on this very important day in your life. And parents, congratulations to you as well. Some questions the graduates may be asking. What will I do in the future? Who will I become? And will I be happy? Well, quoting Albert Schweitzer, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, today's speaker has certainly sought and found ways to serve a community he loves. Mr. Milbourne has been a lifelong resident of Lake County and gives much of his personal time and energy to charitable causes, including Chairman and President of the Martha Holding Jennings Foundation, past President and current member of the Hospice of Western Reserve, past President and current member of the Painesville Rotary Club, General Chairman and campaign for the Arthur S. Holden Center here at Lake Erie College, a campaign chairperson for the United Way of Lake County, member of the Lake Geauga Fund of the Cleveland Foundation, and former board member of the Ohio Foundation of Independent Colleges. Mr. Milborn retired in 2000 from co-manufacturing as vice president and consultant to the president. His 33-year career at co-manufacturing represents 3 generations of Milborns serving co-manufacturing in the Lake County community. He has earned a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Denison University in 1965, and he immediately began working at co-manufacturing as a trainee in the field service department. That same year, he also joined the Ohio Air National Guard and was called to active duty in 1968. He served at air bases in South Korea and Japan. He returned to Co. in 1969. He worked in the assembly, the sheet metal, the service parts, and the accounting departments. You can see he was willing to put in his experiences there. In 1971, he moved into a trainee position in the sales department, and by 1977, he was named sales manager. By 1981, he had been named vice president and general manager of all products. He has been honored numerous times for his business leadership and community service. But George B. Milborn considers his family, his wife Peggy, his 3 children, Jane, Mike, and Jeff, and his 8 grandchildren, his family combined with his strong community ties, to be the pillars of his life. We at Lake Erie College are grateful for our relationship with George B. Milborn and the service he has given our community. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce your commencement speaker today, George B. Milborn.
Thank you, Robin, for that very kind introduction. I really didn't know who you were talking about there for a little bit. But President Victor, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, alumni, parents, families, friends, and most importantly, you, the 215 participants in the Lake Erie College graduating class of 2013. I was told this is the largest graduating class ever, so you can remember that. It is indeed an honor for me to be here. I grew up, as someone stated, here in Paynesville, and I've resided in Lake County all my life. However, never in my wildest dreams or nightmares did I expect to be standing and speaking in front of you at a Lake Erie College commencement. When I think of commencement speakers, I usually think of famous people, of which I am not. One that comes to mind, for example, is in 2009, country singer Dolly Parton gave the commencement address at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I'm told that 50% of the graduating class looked at her and never blinked an eye. 45% looked on in absolute disbelief, and 5% just kept on trucking with their iPods or iPads or whatever. I don't expect that sort of high level of attention from you today, but I'll give it a shot anyways. I was asked first to talk about my history, family tradition, and involvement with Lake Erie College and growing up in Lake County, and secondly, to pass on my very general thoughts relative to you as you go on with your lives after graduation. So first, the history background. Growing up, I lived over here, let's see, we're facing south. I grew up over here on the corner of Jackson and Newell Street in Paynesville and attended Lathrop Elementary School, which has since been torn down. About 60 years ago, I was in the 3rd grade, Miss O'Hara's 3rd grade class. Kid walked in, sat down, plopped himself down at the desk next to mine, said, "My name's Paul, I'm from Missouri." I said, "Well, that's just wonderful." I didn't know or care at the time, but Paul had moved here from Missouri so that his father, Paul Weaver Sr., could become the president of Lake Erie College. I also didn't know or care at the time that my father, Frank Milburn, was on the Board of Trustees of this college and on the search committee that recommended Dr. Weaver for the job. Small world. So that's where my involvement started, about 3rd grade. Moving into my teenage years, I spent considerable time on this campus as my high school girlfriend lived over here on Gillette Street, that's right over here. And quite often we would walk through the campus and hang out, as they say, in the old student center known as Lincoln Commons. Back then there was no Holden Center, there was no Osborne Wellness Center, there was no Dickinson Dorm, Dunlap Gates. The campus was frankly kind of ho-hum. and thus it is so very nice to see all the new structures, beautiful landscaping, and the general enthusiasm that abounds on this campus today. Early on, I was fortunate to have met many of the movers, shakers, and decision makers in this area. For the most part, these folks were what Tom Brokaw referred to as the greatest generation. And to me, there was nothing that these individuals could not do. One of these folks was a gentleman by the name of Arthur S. Holden. Yes, the man after whom your student center is named. He was smart, tenacious, hardworking, and very loyal to the co-manufacturing company for whom he worked for 65 years. He also became known as Mr. Lake County for his relentless efforts on behalf of Lake Erie College, Lakeland Community College, the Lake County YMCA, and I could go on and on and on. In the mid-1990s, the Lake Erie College Board of Trustees decided to build a new student center to replace the old Lincoln Commons that I just mentioned. The estimated cost of the new building was $6 million, and it was to be named in honor of Mr. Holden. Because of my respect for him, I volunteered to chair the campaign to raise the funds for the building, and with the financial, moral, and administrative support of many of you in this building today, we succeeded. In 1995 and 1996, while that campaign was going on, I probably spent more time on this campus than anyone in the graduating classes in either of those years. So that gives you a little of my history or involvement with Lake Erie College. Now, on to the second part of my assignment. Nearing my 70th birthday, I am fully aware that the world which I was raised and worked is vastly different from that which you will be entering upon graduation. I'm equally aware that you, mostly members of the generation known as the millennials, born after 1977, did not take kindly to being told what to do and how to do it, especially from an old turkey such as myself. So I'm only going to throw out a few things which really are so basic, you've heard them all before, but I think they're applicable to all generations and suggest that you simply think about it. First, this is a no-brainer. Be nice, be kind to people. Today I see we're all so busy or into ourselves that I think we often forget to do that. It's called the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I worked for many years with a fellow named Norton Oling, who many of you local folks might remember. Norton grew up over here off of Wickland Avenue, graduated from Harvey High School. Norton would walk by in the hall and he'd say, "How are you, my friend?" If you said, "I'm not doing so well," Norton would say, "I'm so sorry to hear that. How can I help you?" I don't hear much of that today. How can I help you? Just as I remember Norton today, maybe someone someday will think of you in the same manner. Next point, find a role model, a mentor. You've probably heard this before as well. With a bachelor or master's degree in hand, you might think that you can handle most things on your own. I'd be willing to bet 6 months from now that you will think otherwise, or many of you will. Find someone you respect and seek their advice. That person, more likely than not, will be honored and be happy to help you. It doesn't have to be a Warren Buffett or a Bill Gates, but probably should be someone with a little more substance than a pop diva or a rap star. I was fortunate that my role model was my father. He was the most honest, caring, decent human being I've ever known. He ran a very successful business, but I know his greatest satisfaction in life was derived from helping others. What is now the United Way of Lake County was founded in his office here in Paynesville in 1957. 40 years ago, he was voted the Paynesville Citizen of the Year, and many years ago, he was the Lake Erie College commencement speaker. I'm proud that the atrium in the Holden Center is named in his honor. Bottom line, you have to learn through experience. You can't buy experience. So take a shortcut. I suggest you find a mentor. My next point might be a little controversial, but I'll say it anyways, and that is find a religion if you haven't. Nearly every successful or happy person I've known has been or is a person of faith. Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, or any faith, find one that nurtures you and accepts freedom of religion for everyone. Attendance and participation in religious services in overall involvement is lower now in this country, I believe, than any time in my 70 years on this earth. I think it's interesting, yet disturbing, that so many people cannot find the time, interest, or reason to spend an hour or so a week in a religious setting, but yet flock to such an institution with great expectations when there is a personal or national tragedy. Again, I know this is controversial, but suggest you just think about it. On another issue, I can remember my grandfather, and then my father saying, quote, "Don't confuse activity for accomplishment." I think that phrase is as relevant today as when I first heard it. I often hear how busy we are. Well, I don't believe that. I believe we have more choices to make, but we're only as busy as we choose to be. We can't do everything, and to maximize your accomplishments, I would urge you to make a short list of what is really important to you. I know that multitasking is one of the more popular current buzzwords and all that sort of stuff that define a person who can do many things simultaneously. I think that's fine, but how many things can this person really do well? Another subject which you may wish to consider is developing your own moral compass. There are laws in this country that relate to what we can and cannot do. However, to me, the more important laws are those that are unwritten and pertain to how we treat each other and conduct our daily lives. You don't have to be an A student to know right from wrong. There's a country song out now in which the singer says, quote, "I want to be a good man, the kind my mirror likes to see." To me, that speaks volumes. If you can look at that person in the mirror and honestly feel good about the body and soul staring back at you, your moral compass is probably pointed in the right direction. If not, you and only you can decide how to redirect your compass. Moving on, perhaps the most important decision you will make, and maybe some of you have already made it in life, is choosing a spouse, a mate, a partner, significant other, or any other politically correct term that I've forgotten. I suggest you find someone that you not only love but respect, someone with whom you can argue and disagree, but who will bury the hatchet with you and move on. I've been married to my wife Peggy for 46 years. I remember vaguely what young love was all about, and I think I remember it was pretty good. But as you grow older, I think mutual respect becomes just about as important. My wife was from Houston, Texas, and after the wedding we came back to Painesville, where she virtually knew no one very well. At the ripe old age of 23, she immersed herself in community activities, becoming president or chairperson of many of them. Currently, her favorite, she serves as vice president of Hospice of the Western Reserve and as a board member of the Cleveland International Piano Competition. Being an ovarian cancer survivor, she also now serves on the Women's Committee at University Hospitals. More relevant to today, I would be remiss if I didn't say that, in keeping with our family tradition, she succeeded my father as a member of the board of, yes, Lake Erie College. I say all this because, in my opinion, respect, in addition to love, is such an integral part of a relationship, and she has my total respect and admiration. And with this being Mother's Day, and I think Robin just mentioned, I'm pleased to say that we have 3 grown children with their original spouses, all of whom we are immensely proud, and 8 grandchildren that make us very happy campers. I can't prove this, but I think if young people spend as much time asking the right questions of a potential life partner as they do preparing for a job interview, our country's divorce rate would decrease, there would be far fewer single-parent homes, and we would be a much more decent society. Again, I'm not an expert, so I just suggest you think about that. The next subject I'll propose to you is a challenge. There are many in my generation who look at you as soft and spoiled. You have never seen hard times. Sure, you have student loans, but over time you'll get those paid off. Military conflicts are going on as I speak, but you do not have to serve your country unless you choose to do so. Many of you live in dorm rooms, eat better food, and have technological tools available to you than your parents or grandfathers never had or dreamed of. Some people call you whiners because you complain about the smallest things but don't offer a constructive solution to your complaints. Now, I don't agree with what I just said, but I'm just saying there are those out there that do. But I suggest you prove them wrong. The American free competitive enterprise system at work is the economic engine that is the envy of the modern world, regardless of what you might read. With its flaws, our system provides opportunities that don't exist elsewhere. Society owes you nothing other than an opportunity to show your stuff. You never know when that opportunity will present itself, but when it does, and it will, be prepared. Seize that opportunity by outworking, outthinking, and outsmarting your coworkers. When you do so, you will prove to the naysayers how wrong they were about you and your generation, and you will really feel good about yourself, I guarantee it. Getting to my final point, I suggest you consider becoming a philanthropist. You're probably asking, well, what is a philanthropist? It's basically a person with genuine concern for human welfare, advancement, usually manifested by donating their time, talent, or treasure to needy persons or causes. I spent 35 years of my life in the machinery business and traveling the world to put bread on the table for my family, and I really had a blast doing that. But my greatest personal satisfaction has come in the past 20 years, during which I have served as a board member of the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation. Since its inception in 1959 by the same Mr. Holden who I mentioned earlier, the foundation has given over $175 million to K through 12 public education causes in the state of Ohio. We have made a very positive impact on thousands of teachers in this state, for which I am very proud. When you leave here today, you will leave with a signed diploma and automatic membership into the Lake Erie College Alumni Association. If the college is doing its job, you will soon receive an envelope and a request to make a philanthropic financial contribution to the school. You may ask, why should I contribute? My answer is simple. You paid tuition, or your folks did, or someone did, to make you book smart with a 4-year or more bachelor or graduate degree in your chosen field. Nothing more. What you really didn't pay for are the lifelong friendships you have acquired, the exposure to fellow students from other countries, the maturation that happened in turning you from perhaps an immature teenager into a responsible young adult, and the intellectual and critical thinking skills that cannot be taught by a book or a computer. I hope you leave this place with an attitude of gratitude, because whether you realize it or not, you're a much better person as a result of having the Lake Erie College experience. Now finally, my father once told me that a person's mind cannot absorb any more than what his rear end can withstand. So I know what you're going through. Thus, I would like to conclude with a little story. After President Victor invited me to give this presentation, I kind of panicked. What do I know about the students of Lake Erie College? Well, absolutely nothing. So I put on my blue jeans, a sweatshirt, and my Jack Daniels cap, and headed down to Jack Britt Field for your homecoming football game last fall, looking like the town vagrant. Each quarter I moved seats and eavesdropped on many of your conversations. I saw Taylor Lepla's fumble recovery followed by Brandon Gallagher score 4 plays later to see the Storm up by 2 touchdowns by halftime. The halftime presentation was terrific. The marching Storm band and introduction of the homecoming court with their credentials was impressive. Queen Mary Walder and King Justin Toth, your families were so proud of you that day. Again, I know because I was eavesdropping on your conversations down by the football field. I apologize for doing that. Not really. Matt Vandermeer receiving his All-America Wrestling Award, that was awesome. I wrestled in college, and I know how hard you have to work to be a mediocre wrestler. So to do what he did, that's fantastic. And Spencer and Skylar, I don't know if you're here today. You're fantastic cheerleaders and ambassadors for Lake Erie College, but you're not nearly as good looking as those young ladies who are on the cheerleading squad with you. That homecoming experience was eye-opening for me. I learned that you are a terrific conglomeration of smart, energetic, enthusiastic young people. I'm in the fourth quarter of my life, and you are just beginning the second quarter of yours. I doubt if I've said anything today that you haven't heard before, but perhaps there may be something in this presentation that will resonate as you play out the rest of your game. I wish each of you good health. I wish you happiness and fulfillment in whatever you pursue along your journey. Thank you very much.
Will the candidates for the bachelor's degree please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of Lake Erie College, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Science, as the case may be, these candidates who have fulfilled all the requirements of the college.
Upon recommendation of the faculty and by the action of the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer on all of the qualified candidates the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Science, as in each case may be appropriate, with all of the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.
Will the graduates in the first row please present themselves?
The following are degree recipients from the School of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. Ajuk G. Abiyar. Joseph W. Eichly. Paige Eileen Bowles. Jamie Crystal Castle. Matthew F. Curcio. William L. Desiderio II. Jessica Marie Drake. Scott A. Fletcher, magna cum laude. Erin Marie Johnson. Wayne Joseph Kresak. David Matthews. Patricia Jane McCullough, magna cum laude. Tiffany Morse. Zach Mossberger. Joshua Ryan Porter. Brittany A. Rabiano. Cassandra Rideout. Taylor R. Rogers, magna cum laude. Catherine Elizabeth Rosnick, magna cum laude. Isaac Wayne Snyder. Brittany Rose Swansboro, magna cum laude. Sydney Elizabeth Victor. Brooke Brianne Vizalden, cum laude. Lindsay Lee Walker. Christina Marie Ward, magna cum laude. Ian Wolf. Joseph J. Ziegler. Hillary Ann Barnett, cum laude. Kaylee Irene Fields, dual degree recipient. Tiffany Johnson. Valerie Urbanik, cum laude. Adam Robert Beach. Ryan Matthew Ebert. John Lawrence Evans. Joey John D. French. Leah Elaine Jones. Taylor P. Lepla. Pamela R. Loftus. Emily Rose Gray. Margaret Ann Vaughn, summa cum laude. Bella Pavlovna Vilshinetskaya, magna cum laude.
And now the graduates from the School of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. Marissa Nicole Mako. Jordan Baker. Catherine Bateman, summa cum laude. Susan R. Bezick. Chelsea Lynn Black. Cody Aaron Blood. Matthew A. Conger, summa cum laude. Lindsay Nicole Del Prado, cum laude. Gabrielle Noel Fredo, cum laude. Dina Marie Grinstead, summa cum laude. Rebecca A. Hinckley. Caitlin E. Holland. Anya Elise Hurley, magna cum laude. Richard Thomas K. III, magna cum laude. Kyle F. Kemp. Gregory R. Caro. Crystal Ann Kessler. Sarah Irene Lindstrom. Jillian Nasinko. Roya Siobhan Mohammadpour, magna cum laude. Constance Ann Merzen, summa cum laude. Ashley Christine Nedley. Logan Robert Nordquist. Rachel Lee Ritt, magna cum laude. Dylan P. Robertson, cum laude. Ember Ariel Ryan. Patrick Cameron Shelby, summa cum laude. Brian L. Standiford. Kara Toth. Mary Joan Walter. Morgan Taylor Williams. Alex Weisner, cum laude. Sarah Nicole Wojciechowski, summa cum laude. Taylor Urick, summa cum laude.
We'll now present graduates of the School of Business. Krista Ambrosiak. Kathleen Lynn Coggins, summa cum laude. William G. Cole, veteran of the U.S. Air Force, summa cum laude. Lisa Correo. Dawn M. Farrell, summa cum laude. Angela Lee Geiling, summa cum laude. Sharita Renee Johnson, veteran of the U.S. Army, cum laude. Suzanne Antoinette Petronel. Paul A. Shook, veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, recipient of the Purple Heart. Daniel Timothy Shook, magna cum laude. Alicia Adams, summa cum laude. Keegan Roger Ball. Paige Baldoff. Joshua Becker. Gary Carr. Michael Serino. Dominic A. Kribari. Joshua A. Kraut. Brandon Kuchia. Kimberly Dang. Roger Davis, Jr., magna cum laude. Nicholas Decker. Jordan Hadley Forbes. Douglas Randall Fox, magna cum laude. David Gobrogi. Jenna Taylor Hanford, magna cum laude. Meredith Colleen Howe, cum laude. Troy Hunter. Zane Houston. Sylvia Maria Ianero, magna cum laude. Chloe Manette Irish, cum laude. Jeffrey John Jernasik, Jr. Kiera Marie Jones. Richard Michael Cato, cum laude. Patrick Kilway. Julia Kathleen Kudla, magna cum laude. Christopher Lamphere. Cody Alexander Lancaster. Ashley Marie Lanner, magna cum laude. Bryant James Loparo. Megan Lundblad. Christopher William Manley. Samuel John Marcotte. Corinne Mayer, summa cum laude. Patrick McCann, magna cum laude. Dennis Michael McElligott. Samantha Lynn McKinney. Tiffany Jo Manoski, summa cum laude. Tyler James Minnick. Stephanie Minotas. Michelle Elizabeth Morocco. Philip Michael Joseph Murphy. Martin Seamus Newman. Patrick Ian Nicely. Erica Nichols, a veteran of the U.S. Navy. John Jacob Nickel. Dawn Margaret Anderson, magna cum laude. Garrett Christopher Andrus, summa cum laude. Jeremy Gabriel Pasella. Alexander Stephen Payne. Christine Polis, magna cum laude. Michael Elliott Prince, dual degree, summa cum laude. Kristen Donna Robbins. Ryan Michael Robinson. Brian David Rupel, summa cum laude. Catherine Christine Schussler, Ashley Nicole Seibert. James P. Shaw IV. Garrick Scott Sims. Patrick Cinco. Michael Charles Smith. Yeah. Okay. Ethan Snyder. Matthew John Spellich. Timothy John Strauss. Jennifer Borkey, summa cum laude. Anton Trifonovs, summa cum laude. Justin Brandon Tripp. Allison Riley Trombetti, magna cum laude. Tiffany Michelle Turner. Patrick Yule. Dylan J. White. Benjamin Wolf.
We will now present the graduates for the School of Equine Studies. Julianne Marie Bishop, summa cum laude. Danielle Cherie Blymeyer, cum laude. Simone Cardosa, summa cum laude. Jessica Ann Eves. Lauren Sakaya Haggerty. Siaka Haggerty. My apologies. Stephanie Eileen Johnson, magna cum laude. Ashley Marshall, magna cum laude. Anne-Marie Amato Morgan. Courtney Lynn Newby. Noelle Christine Papkan, summa cum laude. Victoria Ann Schreiber, cum laude. Melissa Snyder. Danielle Marie Waite, cum laude. Brittany Rochelle Waples, summa cum laude, honors scholar.
Graduating from the School of Education, Taylor Lauren Ardo. Colleen Bednar. Victoria Burt. Kelly Marie Benan, cum laude. Michael S. Calabuno. Emily Jo Davis. Rebecca Page Droba. Matthew David Grindell, summa cum laude. Michael A. Kurtz. Stephen R. Marolt, cum laude. Tara Nebraski, cum laude. Ava Lindsay Purpura. Hannah Faith Riggert. Samantha Smith. Zachariah Smith.
Will the candidates for the master's degree please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of Lake Erie College, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Master of Education or Master of Business Administration, as the case may be, these candidates who have fulfilled all requirements of the college.
Upon recommendation of the faculty and by action of the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer on all of the qualified candidates the degree of Master of Education or Master of Business Administration, as in each case may be appropriate, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto.
Will the graduates in the first row please present themselves?
For the degree Master of Education, Michael D. Green.
Presenting candidates for the Master of Business Administration, Michael James Azzarello. Kevin Bryant. Leela Gurari. Karen Hopman. Jillian Elizabeth Howley. Christopher P. Johnson. Kevin Kapostasi. Andrea Marchica. Lauren Martin. Shannon Parahar. Daniel Richard Quick. Amit C. Sadness. Yvonne Sancho Hansford. Brian G. Schiffbauer. Misty Rose Servat. Nancy Talley. Robert E. Thompson. James E. Tilton. Alyssa Jean Wagers.
Mr. President, I have the pleasure to present for the Honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters degree, Mr. George Milbourne. Whereas George B. Milbourne, a lifetime resident of Lake County, began his career with Coe Manufacturing Company in 1965 as a trainee in the Field Service Department. He joined the Ohio Air National Guard in 1965, was called to active duty in 1968, serving at air bases in South Korea and Japan. And whereas George B. Milbourne currently serves as the chairman and president of the board of the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation, where he has been a member since 1992. Whereas George B. Milbourne contributes much of his personal time and energy for a variety of civic and charitable causes, including past president and current member of the Hospice of the Western Reserve, past president and current member of the Painesville Rotary Club, general chairman of the campaign for the Arthur S. Holden Center at Lake Erie College, campaign chairman for the United Way of Lake County, member of the Lake Geauga Fund of the Cleveland Foundation, and former board member of the Ohio Foundation of Independent Colleges. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Lake Erie College bestows the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters to be presented before the assembled community on the 12th day of May 2013.
By the authority of the state of Ohio, vested in the trustees of Lake Erie College, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon you, George Milbourne, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Dr. Milbourne, I invite you to a long line of distinguished scholars and assign to you all the rights and duties, privileges, and responsibility which the honor implies, in witness whereof I give you this diploma signed and sealed with the seal of the college. Congratulations.
I also have the pleasure to present for the Honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters degree, Mr. Edward D. Dunlap. Whereas Edward B. Dunlap, Chairman and CEO of Centamark Corporation, has repeatedly demonstrated his leadership and entrepreneurial abilities by expanding a two-person company into the largest commercial roofing contractor in North America, presently employing 3,500 people in 80 offices throughout the country, is the owner of 40 diverse businesses, and began his successful commercial real estate development business in 1988 in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And whereas Edward B. Dunlap has been a good friend of Lake Erie College for numerous years, serving admirably on the board of directors from 1990 to 1993. Whereas Edward B. Dunlap, realizing that first impressions of the campus are important for students, faculties, and visitors, gave generously to create the new grand entrance to the campus known as the Anna and Head Dunlap Family Courtyard. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Lake Erie College bestows the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters to be presented before the assembled community on the 12th day of May of 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By the authority of the State of Ohio, vested in the trustees of Lake Erie College, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon you, Ed Dunlap, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. Dr. Dunlap. I invite you to join a long line of distinguished scholars and assign to you all the rights and duties, privileges, and responsibilities which the honor implies. In witness whereof, I give you this diploma, signed and sealed with the seal of the college.
For some of you, this day seemed so far away, and for others, your time at Lake Erie College seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. Although the road to get here was comprised of over 200 unique and individual paths, there is one common thread among you. Each of you planned to succeed in obtaining your college degree, and here you are. You represent large cities, small towns, and rural villages. You committed to your education, and with that, you committed to your success. During this time, Lake Erie College alumni have watched as you've traveled down your individual path to reach this day. We celebrated your arrival to campus, followed your accomplishments both inside and outside of the classroom, and watched you experience a number of the traditions that we experienced when we were students. Today, it is my pleasure to stand before you to congratulate you on your academic achievement and welcome you to the Lake Erie College Alumni Association. Today, you join over 10,000 Lake Erie College alumni. They, like you, face the future with excitement, perhaps a little trepidation, and the opportunity to succeed. Our alumni have gone out into the world to achieve great things and continue to make their mark in business, arts and sciences, social service, and through their individual contributions to make a better tomorrow. They have a unique knack for making this world a better place, and I have no doubt that you will too. Recently, I read a quote from Henry Ford that seems appropriate at this time. To do more for the world than the world does for you, that is success. As you journey out into the world and continue down your individual path, I leave you with a few actions to consider. Stay connected with your alma mater. Visit the campus. Become a class agent. Read the alumni magazine. Attend campus events. Send us email. Engage us through social media. Celebrate your success with us. Let us know your accomplishments, your milestones, and your life-changing experiences that continue to define who you are. Let us know how your success has changed the world. Graduates, we applaud your accomplishments today and look forward to seeing all the great things that you will accomplish in the future. Congratulations.
Let's all of us one more time take the opportunity to congratulate all of today's graduates. Now, graduates, this is the last time I'm going to ask you to do something, until I, of course, ask you to contribute back to your alma mater. There are other people in the audience whom I would like to recognize, because graduation day is exciting for them, too. So, graduates, please all stand up. Now, turn around. Turn around. Take a look at the friends, family members, faculty, and staff who've tirelessly supported you in this journey. Let's take this opportunity to thank them as well. Graduates, please be seated. Well, you've all done it. You've all done it. Well, remember Lake Erie College as you enter the next chapter of your lives. We will always be here for you. And finally, remember these words from your alma mater. Too soon you will leave us, but always remember the halls of Lake Erie, the green and the white.
Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will exalt you. May we be humble in our knowledge, giving in our spirit, and totally committed to Christ. God has called us to our special vocation. Lord, help us to serve you with love and grace, and help us to share our knowledge of God and abide with Christ to find strength and direction in our life. Let us go as graduates, never forgetting to pause and learn along life's journey. The Lord bless you, and the Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you, and grant you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.